Hello everybody, welcome back to Starcraft 2. Today we're going to be having a little bit of a game here on Taito Citadel. I assume that's how you say that, I have no clue. This is of course from the MrsShoeshine Discord server on the Shoeshine Fight Night, which is open to everyone. And there will be links in the description below. Now, this game in particular is going to be a set of essentially new players. nugsboyten is, from what I'm aware, a kid and is still learning the game. And then we have MrsShoeshine, who is the wife of the owner of the Shoeshine server, who just recently started playing and also very, very new. Now we've casted MrsShoeshine before actually. And what I really enjoyed coming in from MrsShoeshine was her ability to focus on macro as a new player. And that might sound silly, but a lot of new players fall for the I want to be overly aggressive. Excuse me, the overly aggressive trap that, you know, leads to a lot of misused APM, right? Like it's being used into like microing a Reaper when you're not even building things. So I gave her quite big props for being able to actually focus on macroing. Now, we are not going to be seeing standard build orders. We are not going to be seeing any crazy APM or styles today. But what we are going to see is two players trying their absolute best. And I'm actually excited to see how this goes because MrsShoeshine, like I said, very good at macro. nugsboyten, very good at building an army and then attacking. And I know that might sound silly. They might sound the same, right? No. nugsboyten kind of fails at building SCVs regularly, kind of fails at expanding regularly, but you can guarantee he's gonna have an army and you can guarantee it's going to attack you. Whereas MrsShoeshine, I mean, also, as you can see, missing out on probes and things like that. We're gonna be seeing multiple expansions. We're gonna be seeing the Protoss taking the map in a more standard way that you would expect. So, who's gonna win? Is it going to be nugsboyten, who's currently sending the Reaper cross map? Or is it going to be MrsShoeshine? Now, I've learned some fancy new hotkeys, and this is one of them, okay? I can now make my camera follow units. Now, normally what I would do to do that is I would just click on the portrait, but there's no portraits with this UI. But haha, I figured out how to do it without having to click the portrait. Reaper's gonna move in here. It's gonna be chased by the Zealots, so good reaction from MrsShoeshine. Now, nugsboyten is trying to get something done with this. Tip to nugsboyten, in this situation, don't attack the Zealots. It's a lot of APM, but just right-click, 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 right-click a probe. Right-click, 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 right-click a probe. It doesn't have to be 3 right-clicks. I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, like, target down the probes with your mouse. Go like, do-do-do-do probe, do-do-do-do probe, do-do-do-do probe, right? So that way you're not wasting ammunition on things that, honestly, it's not really going to benefit you. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about, right? Nugs putting a lot of APM into that Reaper, not quite getting anything out of it. And falling a little bit behind macro-wise, right? Letting things slip. Meanwhile, MrsShoeshine doing a pretty good job getting those probes. Oh my god, the 16 out of 16. Yes. If you're new to the game, by the way, getting this 3 out of 3, this 3 out of 3, and this 16 out of 16 should be your main goal. Not killing your opponent. Getting all of these at the perfect values until it is like the easiest thing you've ever done. You don't even have to think about it. Once you can do that, you're ready to start trying to harass. But until then, you really got to focus up. So, something you're going to see here from Nugs is, if I had to guess, we're going to see a mech style. Yes, we have 3 barracks, but as you can see, we've now got 2 factories and a starport on the way. Nugs loves to get out his Thors. He loves to get out those big honking units and then move across the map. And also, shout out to Nugs. You know, taking that 3rd base, I mean, it's quite early, especially since we're struggling to get the SCVs out. But regardless, I like to see it because Nugs usually struggles to macro, and we're seeing a pretty good set of macro from him right now. Some more gateways on the way for MrsShoeshine. We do have that warp gate finishing up. And, yeah, pretty tame. We do have a Hellion making its way across the map. It is going to head over here to the probe line. Will MrsShoeshine react in a reasonable amount of time? We have one probe going down so far. MrsShoeshine. 2 probes. Oh, that last shot could have got 2. That's all right. That's all right. It does go down inevitably, though. Did get a few probes. Decent reaction time for MrsShoeshine. Here's a really simple tip for you, MrsShoeshine. Because obviously, I'd love it if you keep working on your macro. Macro is looking great. If you're ever expanding, like for example, right now, this is your most exposed expansion. Just leave your army right here. Eventually, you'll understand why you'll leave Stalkers here or, you know, High Templar here or there. But for now, find your most exposed base and just kind of leave your army near it. And that's all I want you to do. Keep focusing on that macro. Get these numbers looking pretty. And that's your main goal. That's your main focus. More gateways on the way. I love the amount of gateways you're adding. Makes me happy. Nugs really investing into the bio. I would love to see those factories and stuff being used. Adding on a reactor to the starport. So, and 2 engineering base. So it does look like I was wrong. It looks like Nugs really wants to go into the Marine Marauder siege tank way. And of course, we'll probably see medevacs out of the reactored starport. I have a lot of idle command centers. I think I got on to you about this last time, Nugs. Make sure you're getting those SCVs out. Those are way, way, way more important than you give them credit for currently. So this is where I want to get on MrsShoeshine just a little bit. Just a little bit, MrsShoeshine. Make sure we're focusing on these numbers, because these gases have been here for a long time. And now that this is 22 out of 16, we really just might as well be using those probes. Yeah, there we go. There we go on these gases. And then, oh, perfect. There we go. That's what we love to see. And then now, since this is over, now we take that third. We go ahead and we say, oh, goodness, we're over here. Let's drop our third here. And then, because this is now your most, good job, by the way. Now that this is your most exposed base, this is where it can get a little bit more dynamic. You have to think about where you're placing your army. But I'd probably put it about right here. It's like, yes, they're going to come from this angle if they're going to attack your third. But that also leaves your natural exposed. So just kind of plop it right here. And that's it. I'm not asking you to do anything crazy. Just placement of the army right now. Other than that, very good job. Keep it up. All right. The army, as I said, is building up here for Nugs. We have a minimum combat shield. Do we have stem? We do. We have stem, combat shield, and concussive shells. We've got a bunch of bio building up in some siege tanks. We got the +1/1 on the way. Unfortunately, we are forgetting about the starport, so we have no medevacs, which is going to make stem extremely double-edged. Stem's already somewhat double-edged if you use it a little bit willy-nilly. But in this case, without medevacs, it's extremely double-edged. So we're oversaturated here. So even if this is still building, if you're ever oversaturated, like this is 18 out of 16, just go ahead and reset the rally over. Is this one's rally? No. Yeah, just go ahead and set the rallies over. It's perfectly fine if they have their long distance mine. Just be careful about where you're doing it. Like if you're way out here, right, in the middle of the map, and you're like sending your probes over and it's still building and your army's like, I don't know, over here. Obviously, you're just risking your probes dying. And I don't want this to become too complicated. But yeah, for your third that's tucked in right here, yeah, you can just rally early. Good job moving the army. Where are you going to place it? I'm really curious. A little bit too far over to the right. Little too far to the right because, one, they're probably going to come from here, and two, this leaves your natural exposed. So I would probably just place them between them. I'm not asking for anything crazy. Just placement. Just placement. This is what I was talking about. Nugs is moving across the map. Remember how I said Nugs struggles with macro, and he does. And as you can see, I'm pretty sure Shoeshine's doing way better from a pure macro standpoint when it comes to economy. But now we've got this attack coming in from Nugs. So Nugs is going to move in here. I'm wondering if we're going to see Stim or not. We have the siege tank sieging. He's going to back up a bit. I think that was a Stim. I'm not 100% sure. No, it wasn't. We do have a little bit of an army versus army fight. So this is one of the problems you're going to have. And honestly, I wouldn't worry about it too much because you're new and you're focusing on your economy and macro, which is a good thing. Stalkers are not good in high numbers versus Terran unless you have a very specific use case for them. Adding them, absolutely. Relying on them, it's not nearly as effective as you would like. But from a pure macro and economy standpoint, not too bad. And look at this, we've already got more warping in. I love this. And again, if we focus on what I was saying was their strengths and weaknesses, we've got more stalkers warping in over here. But if we take a look back at the home base, we have a little bit of like reinforcing going on, but everything has stopped. Everything has stopped. So be careful, Nugs. Be careful. Because if this dies now, you're going to be, you know, all this damage will be for naught. It won't have been for anything. Honestly, not a bad defense here by MrsShoeshine, all things considered. I imagine these warp gates are off cooldown, though. So we could do another warp-in round. If you wanted to. There we go. If you want a really simple composition to build versus Terran, like one that you don't have to micro, MrsShoeshine, if you even want to consider your composition yet, because I'm telling you, macro is way more important. But if you do want to start considering your composition, if you're fighting a Terran, build mostly Zealots, get the charge upgrade, and then add some Stalkers. So just mostly Zealots with the charge upgrade, and then some Stalkers. If you even care about that right now. As for Nugs, very good job. I think you're continuing to improve across the board. I would still like to see you focus in as hard as you can with that macro. Get those SCVs built. Get the production to match the income, right? Think about it like this. All the money in your bank, like let's hit return to game. I don't do this very often, but I want you to start thinking about it like this, Nugs, because I think you're at a spot where you might be able to start handling it. And I say might purely because you're macro, man. Like you're macro, you've gotta start worrying about this. It is more important than you think. But regardless, what I was about to say was, what I'd like to see you do, Nugs, is think about your bank. If you've got 6K minerals in the bank, right? What that means is if we look at your supply, is there a way to look at supply? I don't know if there's a way to look at supply with this UI. There might be. Someone will have to help me in the comments if you know. But regardless, 6,000 minerals is a lot of Marines. Let's take a look and see, actually. Calculator. Like, I just want to show you what you could have out right now. So if we took 6,000 and divided that by 50, that's 120 Marines, which means you'd be easily at 200 supply. And that's just Marines. And that's in this exact moment, right? Because, look, you're getting almost 1,800 minerals a minute right now. So if you built a bunch of barracks, which, by the way, for another tip, start making your base a lot more unified. Put these barracks in lines. Put your factories in lines. And the reason you want to do that is because, one, you'll be able to choose the pathways later on to better help yourself defend incoming drops and stuff. But two, you'll be able to fit in way more barracks, way more factories, way more starports if this is a lot more organized. Then you're spending that money, right? You're getting that money spent. You're getting those units out. And now you're getting that cluster to go attack way faster. But overall, Doug's very good. I think you're sitting on 1-1 right now, which is really good. You could be higher, but I'm not worried about that. Your army control it needs work, but again, I would focus mostly on the macroing right now and your Sim City. But yeah, both of you did a fantastic job for your skill level. I loved watching it. That was fun. And if you liked watching or want to join in, there'll be a link in the description below. But like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next replay.